Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video I want to talk to you guys about my recent trip to Maui, the things I recommend, the things that I wouldn't recommend, and then overall just how my trip went to share it with you guys. So to start out, here's a little bit of a montage of the trip and the things that we did. Alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you're anything like me, I've seen pictures of Hawaii, Maui, all these places my whole life and always thought they were photoshopped, something like that. And, you know, just being there, the place is freaking gorgeous and it's amazing. It's one of the amazing things that God has created, and it was just really cool to see it in person. But I would say the number one takeaway that I'm really glad that we did is we used a travel agency to help us plan our trip that made it extremely easy to plan our flights, our hotel, and everything. The only thing that we were left to plan was any of the events that we wanted to do. I'm sure that if we had wanted to, we could have got them to do that, but I kind of wanted the flexibility of being able to plan that stuff ourselves. I will flash up on the screen here that travel agency and make sure to link them down in the comments below. I just want to give a shout out to them just because they were extremely helpful in getting everything planned, because we originally planned a trip to the Dominican. I had some difficulty getting my passport in time, so unfortunately we had to change it. They were extremely helpful changing it, you know, kind of like last minute, so that we could change it and go to a different location. So I would definitely recommend that travel agency. We had a week-long trip, which I feel like was perfect for where we stayed, and we did a bunch of different things. The first thing I would just say is to talk about the resort that we stayed at. We stayed at the Westin, and the Westin was really what I consider perfect. It was kind of like in the middle of, like, I guess kind of the resorts. The beach was great. Snorkeling just straight out from your hotel was absolutely amazing. I took a snorkel set, and then I also took my action camera, got a ton of pictures and footage just swimming out there in the bay where all the hotels were. So it was super fun. The hotel was extremely clean. They had tons of different pools and stuff. They had a little hut where you could rent stuff if you went out to the beach. There was a little Starbucks, like 2 restaurants in the hotel, like a little like kind of convenience shop. They opened a Hawaiian ice place every once in a while out of this little cool looking little vintage vehicle. And they had towels that were available that you could exchange anytime you wanted. Made it super easy to go out to the beach. I think we had a total of 4 different towels that we could get. But overall, loved the resort. If I ever go back and want to stay in the resort part, I definitely would stay there again. I just feel like it was centrally located and perfect for the kind of things that we wanted to do. So I'll go over a little bit of the different activities that we did while we were down there. So the first one I'll start out with is the Terralani sailing with the snorkeling. So we did, like, I think it was like a 3/4 day or half day, I don't remember, snorkeling trip, and we went to Honolulu Bay. But you know, the trip was super cool. On the ride out, you got to see dolphins. The crew actually said it was one of the roughest days on the, you know, sea that they had the entire year. But like once you get to the bay, it's kind of protected. But the problem was all the water was turbulent. There had been some rain, so snorkeling conditions weren't that great. But really, like, the boat and everything was super fun. They like had an open bar if you wanted to drink and all that stuff, but we did not. We just enjoyed the trip and did a little bit of snorkeling. They had a catered meal and everything, so it was really good. But to be honest, I had better snorkeling experience down at my hotel. I saw a bunch of sea turtles and all that stuff, and the water was just like perfect down there, down by where we actually stayed at. But overall, I'd recommend that. The crew was super awesome, and it was really fun. Just sometimes when you work in that industry, the weather is a variable that you can't control. So that brings me kind of to my second one, is that's the trip up the mountain. I will put it on here so that, because I will butcher this name of the mountain, but we got a trip with a tour company up the mountain to see the sunrise. And I would say it was pretty good. We got to see the sunrise, but once again, unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate, so there was some cloud cover, so it wasn't like, you know, the best that it could be. But that was a super fun experience. It was really pretty up there, getting to go to the top of the mountain. Actually, we kind of got a little lightheaded, I think, being at that much elevation. My wife and I both were kind of like a little like woozy and ready to sit down, just from the intense change in elevation. I will say that the company that we went with was awesome, because the guy like told us all kinds of fun facts about the island and a bunch of different things. So even if you go up there and the weather's not perfect, it's actually a cool little trip just because of that. And on the way back down, we had breakfast at a plantation, and it was delicious and just a really good fun part of the trip. The third thing that we did activity wise while we were there is we went to the luau at the Westin, and I'd heard that's one of the better ones, and that was super fun. A really good meal. It was kind of cool too, just because we sat at a table with a bunch of different couples, and were able to chit chat, and they were all super nice, and it was a lot of fun to get to experience the luau and talk through the history and all that jazz. Let's see. And the final thing that we did while we were there as far as activity is we went out on the strike zone Maui and did some fishing, and we're fortunate enough to catch a couple fish, and it was a lot of fun. And my wife braved the sea and went out and caught some fish with me, and we were able to catch some fish, so that was really fun. The crew was super cool, and it was actually kind of cool too, just because like I talked to the captain of the boat, and he talked about taking out Joe Rogan fishing, so we had, you know, a big conversation about a bunch of different stuff on the boat, and it was just a really fun trip out on the boat. So overall, I will say that my trip to Maui was everything that I could have imagined that it would have been, and I would recommend it to anybody. You know, if you, I will say that, and I will say that my wife and I both, since we've left, have talked about how much we want to go back to Maui, and how we don't feel like it's fair, because in the future we're probably going to compare every vacation to this trip, and just how beautiful and amazing it was. And that's going to be hard to not do, just because the beach and everything was great there. I will say that I had a little bit of a concern going there, just because I think that we can't fathom different places in the world and temperatures. But I will say that we went in early November, and the temperature was great. During the day it got warm enough to be like warm on the beach to where you would want to get in the water, but the water wasn't so hot that it was just like nasty feeling. It felt kind of cool and refreshing, but it wasn't so cool that it was like uncomfortable, if that makes sense. You know, so it was super great. It was actually kind of cool too, because we went during the election, and while all the craziness was going on in the world with the election and the results and all that stuff, we were down swimming on the beach. And as the election results came in for the 2024 election, we were just like hanging out on the beach, so it was super cool. But as always, guys, I appreciate you guys watching, and I just want to tell you guys that I'm planning on getting back into this, and 2025 I'm going to really get back into doing these videos. You know, a lot of things have changed in my life with respect to things going on, and really just my focus, and I'll get into that in another video. But I feel very blessed, and I am ready to do 2025 and make a lot more content. But I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to get outside, do something awesome, take somebody with you if you get a chance, and I'll see you in the next one. You CP, did you get your 15-minute break and your lunch break? No? Oh my goodness. Hello. Aloha. Hi, bird.